Okay, welcome back to Brian's Blenders. Just a recap on what Brian's Blenders is all about. It's where I talk about issues that occurred in my 40-year career where I made what I call blunders that impacted the company I worked for, my relationship with others, or my career. And this one goes back to the year 2000 when I was working at AFL, and we were looking at buying a company called Focus, which is a competitor of ours. They had a facility down in Alpharetta, Georgia, also one in Swindon, UK. And I was a director of technology up to that point, and the GM of the company asked me if I was interested in heading up the due diligence and then the integration, and of course I was. It sounded like an interesting project. So I walked away from my role that I had, and this was by January 2020. And I'd never done anything like this before, so it was kind of new to me, and that's kind of exciting but a little scary at the same time. And I wasn't alone. There was a team of people that we worked together to make the deal happen and then do the integration. And I found a book or two, read through that, and the idea was basically tried to find any snakes in the grass, if you will, to make sure that there was no unforeseen liabilities, and also look for any opportunities, some synergies between the two companies. So I think we closed the deal in May or June of that year, and that part was fine. And it was probably a month or two later, I was actually on vacation in Texas, and get a call saying that there was a customer in South Texas that had bought cable from Focus, and we finished the order, that was having a problem with it. And so I said, hey, I'm in Texas already, let me just drive down and see what's going on. So I make the 5-hour drive to McAllen, Texas, and meet with the customer, and they're telling me what's going on. We went out to see where this occurred. Basically, a piece of cable just fell down. And I'm looking around, and ADSS, the kind of cable that they bought, is called all dielectric self-supporting, and there's a known issue with it called tracking that can occur in certain environments. And where it tends to occur is areas where it's arid, where there could be contaminants that could land on the cable, like dust and smoke and fertilizer and pesticides and things like that. And what that does is that lowers the surface resistance on the cable. And what that allows for is, since the cable is hung up near the phases, it can induce current flow on the cable. Because all those contaminants reduce the resistance, you start getting current flow. That starts to carbonize the surface. That carbonized track that's created is more conductive, so that just propagates the issue, and it grows, the track grows, and eventually breaches the cable, and can actually compromise the strength integrity of the cable, and the cable drops down. So as I was there and I'm looking at it, it was like, well, gosh, I have all the elements of tracking. Cable was installed relatively close to the phases. It's South Texas, it's arid. There's sugarcane close by, so they're burning those every year. Lots of smoke in the area. It's not that far from the coast. They apply fertilizer by air, probably pesticides by air. So just cable is probably just filthy with a reduced resistance. So I told the customer, I was like, all this cable is going to come down eventually. You need to either take it down right now or move it to a lower position on the towers, on the power lines if you can. And they didn't want to hear it. They did nothing. For months, they did nothing. So it was a little frustrating. Even came up with kind of a novel idea over the subsequent weeks to that visit about how there was a way to mitigate the problem. And I had industry backing on that from some experts in the industry. It would have cost about $200,000 to do the implementation and take care of that. The customer just did not want to hear it at all. And you're probably thinking, well, okay, where's the blunder that I did? Well, it had to do with the contract, the agreement. Turns out, if Focus started the order but didn't finish it, they didn't own liability for the order. So they started the order, we're shipping, AFL took on the order, and we finished the order. And because of that, we owned liability to it. So that was not great. Also, turns out Focus, when they were looking to buy the cable, they had pulled in an engineering firm to basically make an assessment of what kind of cable they needed, where it should be installed, and all that. And basically, the engineering firm was the one that was really responsible. They decided what kind of cable. They ignored the whole conversation about tracking as a precaution, because Focus did highlight that to them, but it was ignored. And they picked the position where the cable will be installed. And at the end of the day, the customer's just ticked, and so they sue us for full replacement. And we're like, wait a minute, we're not responsible, so we're going to sue the engineering firm for full replacement. And I think even the engineering firm ended up suing the customer at the end of the day. So it's kind of a mess. Everybody's pointing fingers at everybody else. And at the end of the day, I think we got out of the deal by dropping $800,000, which is a lot, but it was a fraction of what the overall cost would have been for full cable replacement and full installation. I think the engineering firm took the big hit. But our GM at the time just didn't want to mess with it. He was like, we got other things to be focusing on, so we just need to move on. Take the hit, and that's the end of it. So probably the right decision, but kind of an expensive decision. Anyway, so that was the blunder. Is there was a liability there that we just completely underestimated, and we really shouldn't have agreed to that. We should have kept the original parent company of Focus responsible for any orders that they accepted, even if it was going to be completed when we took over. So a subtlety that we all missed. It kind of sucked. Anyway, today I'm at New Realm Brewing in Greenville, South Carolina. I'm drinking Hazy Like a Fox. It's really, really good. So if you ever get to Greenville, I recommend it. It's a very cool little place. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this, and I will talk to you again next week. Take care.